how to increase your sales on Walmart, the success of beta and subscribe on Walmart, and how to manage your inventory on the Walmart marketplace. This and so much more on today's episode of Walmart Wednesday.
How cool is that? Pretty cool, I think. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Serious Sellers Podcast by Helium 10. I am your host, Bradley Sutton, and this is the show that's completely BS-free, unscripted, and unrehearsed, organic conversation about serious strategies for serious sellers of any level in the e-commerce world. And this episode is our monthly live Walmart Wednesday show where we talk about anything and everything Walmart related with different guests. And today's host is going to be Carrie Miller. So Carrie, take it away.
We have a special guest today, and I'm very excited. His name is Jason McClellan from VitaCup, so I'll bring him on in just a second. Thanks so much for joining us. And Jason is the VP of Online Marketplaces at VitaCup. So he has had a lot of really great experience with Walmart in a few different ways. So we're going to talk about that today, and I'm really excited about that. So do you want to just go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit more and just what you do and maybe your background a little bit?
Hi, my name is Jason. Currently the Vice President over Online Marketplaces at VitaCup. We are a functional coffee and tea company. Might have heard of our blends like Genius, Slim, or Focus. And my role is to oversee all the online marketplaces and activities that go on at VitaCup. So that would be both Amazon USA, Amazon Canada, a little bit of Amazon Mexico, some Walmart USA right now on the .com side. Yeah, we're looking at some additional expansion. So yeah, I just oversee that. It's, very solely focused.
Awesome. Yeah, that's quite a bit of work though to oversee all of those marketplaces. So we're really excited to have you. I've been wanting to have you on here for quite some time because I know you've been, doing pretty well in Walmart and having some good successes, and you've actually gotten access to some things that the rest of us haven't. So I'm really excited to talk with you about those things. But before we get into all that, I want to just tell everyone just what is your background? How did you get started with Walmart? Like, were you doing this kind of stuff before you started at VitaCup? And what's your experience with Walmart?
So yeah, I've been doing online marketplaces since the early 2000s. The 800-pound gorilla back then was eBay. I was an early adopter. I had my own company doing some reselling, also focused initially in consumer electronics, where we had a small crew of refurbishing and selling cell phones on eBay, transitioned that over to Amazon, lived a variety of different iterations as categories have got too much competition and looked at switching categories. Had some early on experience with Walmart in its infancy on the .com side of back like 2018, I think it was around then. I was an authorized reseller for a number of different aftermarket auto accessories. And I was doing really well on eBay, extremely well on Amazon. So yeah, and now I'm at VitaCup since 2019, and we've slowly been growing our online marketplace presence and revenue, and Walmart's was a natural growth, and it's starting to see a lot of great ramping up in revenue since the investment they've been making, and it's really exciting. It reminds me of the early days of Amazon.
So before we get into some more of those things of maybe what has made you successful so far on Walmart, can you just talk about the changes that Walmart has made that you think have been really beneficial for sellers over the years?
Yeah, I mean, let's just start with the UI. Like early days, the UI was horrible. Try listing a product on there. You had to do these flat file, like it was so confusing, and their catalog was a mess. Their listings were a mess. I remember I had rewritten back in the early days of Amazon, you could get away with a little bit more. So, I would purposely write my own listings, even duplicating it. And so I got pretty good at writing listings. I did get a slap on my hand from Amazon, but, couldn't have been too wrong. They merged all the listing, they merged their listing into mine. And I went out, I remember contacting Walmart, like, hey, you need to change your titles on these pre-existing listings for these floor mats. Needs to say this, you need to put this in it. And they said, hey, great, why don't you make the changes? We'll give you. And I'm like, okay, you're going to give me exclusivity if I'm going to put all this work in? And they're like, no. I'm like, why should I change it? And so, and there wasn't a sense of partnership. It was very much of a sense of, very one-sided relationship. They were welcome to the information, but they really wanted to rely on sellers to improve their business without them actually investing into it. And that's another thing, the more and more I get involved and I'm talking to people in the grocery channel at Walmart.com, the more I really get a great sense of partnership. They really want to listen. They really want feedback. They really want to know what has made your brand successful in other marketplaces and how they can take those learnings and make changes to give you the tools to succeed.
What are some of the strategies? Because you've been doing Walmart for a few years now, and you've been growing steadily on Walmart. What are some of the strategies that you've implemented and just things that you've had to really work on to make sure that you are successful on Walmart?
Going back to the first days, something that we as a team, because we were trying to figure out is like, we did a whole bunch of reading. We consumed a lot of information, like how do we become successful? And the first thing was getting our listing quality score up. Like we recognized that it was a metric they give. The more we read into it and learned about it, is like, if you want to be successful, you got to do this. And you can't have your listings like Amazon, because a lot of people are just copying what they did on Amazon, and their entire back-end structure is different. And it continues to be different today. And It amazes me some of the strategic moves they're making that get me really excited. I think they're extremely tactical and well thought out, and position them for growth especially on how all their back-end structure is optimized to feed into Google. And so if you really listen to what they're asking you to do and feed into it, it's going to pay off not just within the search experience on Walmart.com, but also that search experience into Google and how they're feeding it and the discoverability. Because in the end, you want consumers from wherever they are to discover your product and come to visit the site, to that product page to purchase. Listing quality. We also, and that took three of us. It took some tooling around. It was a different mindset on how we wrote for it, and it was a lot of trial and error. Online marketplaces, a lot of it's just patience and perseverance, and that perseverance is you just keep at it until you get it right. And then once you get it right, and what you've learned on what you're doing and how you're writing that content, you just duplicate it into that form and structure. Right off there was that listing quality score.
Yeah, I've actually heard that from a lot of big sellers. There were some other sellers who said, they get their listing quality score up, but their main goal is to get the pro seller badge within 90 days when they launch a product. And so they do everything that Walmart says. And literally there's no hacks or anything like that. It's just following the guidelines that Walmart has set out. And because people always ask me, is there a hack? And I'm like, no, it's really straightforward. And that's what they want you to do. So especially the not copying the listing, that's really key. Once you edit your listing a little bit to follow Walmart's guidelines, I've seen people shoot up to the top. So that's all really good information.
Seller badges, yeah, I would agree. And we've heard that, like when we, big seller on Amazon, we had to start from scratch. We made some great connections at Sale and Scale with Walmart and leadership there. But we had no account management for the longest time. We had to earn it. Like we had to get them to notice. And but one of the two things they did focus on when they took us when we brought us account management, they're like, first things we work on is listing quality score and that pro badge, and you got both. We're really impressed. You guys did a great job. And so I would say that. And something I reiterate is, if you look at how, and I don't know if Google still does it this way, but you look at how you write content. Google suppresses content, or they used to suppress content based off of seeing duplicity. And so they wanted original content. So if you were feeding your Amazon content and your Walmart content, and Google's picking it up, it's going to give you a lower relevancy score in the Google search. And just knowing, especially now, how much more Walmart's backend is optimized for that search experience, I'd make sure, for all you successful Amazon sellers, just make sure your Walmart's tweaked enough to not be identical and communicate the same and get that listing score up.
Isabel asked, what are the two things they want? I think that means in regards to the account management, maybe.
Honestly, it was we beat our head against the wall, and they finally reached out to us, and it was really, they just notice of us through an increase in sales volume.
Yeah. I think it's the numbers really. They want to see like, I think it's like 200,000 at least in a year. And
it really wasn't that much. We just had to really make just a small movement up. They have, and I don't know if they still have it when we started off with account management. It was 2 levels. They have a basic level, and it's great. Like when we got the basic level, like our whole purpose is to grow you, to hand you and get your account straightened up, to grow your sales a little bit, and then we hand you up to the higher level of account management, and then that's when the really work begins. And it was a lot of fun. We did a lot of great stuff. We checked off a lot of boxes. We learned about a lot of stuff, and we got and it was really eye-awakening on just how much different it is, because it just Amazon, Walmart, totally different beasts. Take a different approach.
Well, that actually goes into a question somebody just asked. Hello, what is the main difference and challenge between Amazon comparing to Walmart?
Amazon, a lot more sales volume. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like our daily sales volume is dramatically lower, but it's building, and they're releasing tools which we can get into where we've seen great that like next level growth, and that we were able to participate in. Second is Walmart, it's not as competitive. So competing from a advertising standpoint, it's much cheaper.
Yes.
Advertising, I'm still wrapping my head around. It's just different too, their approach. And think about advertising on Amazon probably 8 years ago.
Yes.
Walmart's building from scratch up. It's really interesting. A lot of people I talk to, both on advertising and the account management side and the category side, a lot of these people are ex-Amazon and eBay employees. Which is so refreshing. Walmart finally clued in, instead of them trying to create something that was not really in the paradigm of their traditional brick and mortar and trying to make it fit. They're like, okay, let's just go and build it out. So a lot of stuff we're living through right now. It's just wild, wild west, and it reminds me of the early, Amazon USA, Amazon Canada days, non-unified accounts, like the craziness, that stuff you'd have to deal with, and the stuff they were building out, the constant changes that you're going through. It's a great time to get in now, because you're going to learn all this. You're going to be a part of the learning curve, and you'll start understanding how the system works as it's evolving. And being competitive necessarily is not about being the biggest. It's not necessarily about being the most well-funded. At the end of the day, it's really, to be successful, it's about understanding the platform and what makes it work, and how the triggers work, and how the levers work, and how you can use those to your advantage over the competitors.
Yeah, that's really good. I wanted to ask you about your experience with the beta in coupons and subscriptions, because you actually had access to those through your account manager. So I wanted to ask you how those maybe increased your sales, what you saw from those, just anything you can tell us about the coupons and the subscriptions.
So subscriptions is still definitely in beta. I think I'm hoping it's going to be coming out soon. Their approach is and I'll hold off the coupons because there's so much to talk about in coupons. The subscriptions, and note, it's not like Amazon's work subscribe and save. There's no save portion. And I don't know if you've already covered this in previous ones. That's because of traditional Walmart brick and mortar paradigms of everyday low price. They're like, we want to provide the everyday low price. So why do we need to discount a product on subscriptions? I'm like, you need to get the hook out there. And I keep reading every time I talk to them, like, you need to get the hook out there to get them on subscribe. So why don't you offer, when you first subscribe, an X percentage off that engagement, and then you hook them in, and then it just continues, and there'll be a certain amount that attrition out, and there will be a certain amount that stay, and that's fine. We can run cohort analysis on it, and we can understand what that is, and we can also play around with the discount we offer to see if there's what that elasticity is on offering a higher discount is. Does it increase your cohorts and your cohort retention rate enough to justify the additional margin. And that's the really fun stuff I love getting into, kind of that mathematical side to drive business. It's still going on. So we have subscribers. We just don't know how many subscribers we have yet. They have not populated that portion yet. We were told it's supposed to be this month, and we got told it's getting pushed back. So whatever they're doing to build it, they need to build it out. But it'll be interesting because what we'll do is it's going to be downloadable. So we'll start tracking it like we do on the other platform. What the subscribers by product level is each week, and then we will start looking at what that delta is each week and start making tactical decisions on what products we will push heavier because it'll push into subscribe and save. Into subscribe. Yeah. Coupons amazing. Something I've been since day one. I've been at, I have these conversations where they're like, Walmart goes, we know how much money you're doing on Amazon. I said, oh, I'm glad you do. And they're like, we want to do that with you guys. I'm like, that'd be great. So 2 things give me. And they gave me 1, subscribe. And then the 2 is, I need coupons. Yes. They're like, why do you need coupons? I said, I need a hook. I need a hook to get them to try my product. And then I need a hook to get them into subscribe once they do it. And so they released coupons. I think we were actually in the we weren't in the first beta. I think we got in the second beta of it. Okay. And I think they might be on the 3rd at this point. And I could be totally speaking wrong here. But I can tell you we saw a 20% lift in sales. Nice. And our advertising conversion went through the double. Wow. And so that's incredible. And it was a game changer. Volume's still much lower, but it's on the right track, and it becomes more meaningful, and it becomes where customer acquisition, it becomes easier now. And I think it gave us a little bit of street cred, because we kept telling them, you do this, our business will increase. We'll start acquiring new customers. We'll get repeat business, and it'll become meaningful. And they did come back to us. And at the time, some months ago, when we first started getting the data, they were like, your brand is the best performing on coupon conversions. And I said, I told you. Yes. I knew it. Amazing. I know my other platform business extremely well. Yes. And the math followed. Because we have the same type of conversion over there. Coupons have given me a lift too on Amazon. So it's, the customer needs a hook. Yes, they do. And you got to understand the hook in which it plays. And how you can do it. Like, you want a hook because if people will repeat 2 or 3 times, they're going to be very inclined to doing a subscription. Yes. But you need a little nudge over it, because not a lot of people are going to be like, oh, it's just going to save me time. I don't have to worry about it. Right. But they'll go, wait, I can get a 20% subscription off to do my subscription, and I get set up in the flow, and then I save time while I don't have to work. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And plus, it's you get a little notoriety from it popping up. And so it's like, I know when I'm buying online, I need those little things that pop up to me and go, oh, I can get a deal. So shiny. Very good. That's what it is. That's awesome. I'm really excited about them. I can't wait till I get access to that. We've got a lot of questions. This is very exciting. Okay, so let's go into some of these questions. Let's see here. Someone asked, what are some ways to increase a listing score? So our biggest ways was just getting the title. Our biggest ways was getting the title and the bullet points product description down. And it really was initially wrapping our heads around it. We had 3 of us. We had myself. We have someone else who works in my department, who does catalog management across and problem resolution, and someone named Elsie on my team, and who's just a wonderful person. And her and our director of marketing, we went back and forth, and then we kind of figured out this, and it's kind of second nature now. It's like, we don't even think about what it is. It's just we're launching a new product like we are now. We've been doing the setup, and we just different copy for Amazon, different copy for Walmart. It's more concise too. Yeah. Walmart No stuffing. You're right. And and that's like that mentality is it's the reverse. You want to stuff on Amazon for the relevancy, and Walmart rewards you more for brevity.
Yes.
Get those really important keywords to search. So like if I'm doing a keto coffee, I'm gonna want to put keto in there, but I'm not gonna get too wild. It's gonna be very brief. VitaCup Genius keto coffee pods. That's it. Like that's about all. That's all that Walmart wants in there, and Walmart's going to reward it with greater relevancy for the brevity.
All right, here's another good question. I'm on WFS. Does inventory levels affect your organic ranking? Like
Great question.
If you're running out of stock and stuff.
I will say keeping in stock is important. Something we've kind of struggled with, like trying to ramp up, and not necessarily on our own. I can tell you, we keep sending in more. WFS has a much longer lead time to receive in than they'll want to emit over their SLAs. Figure in it's going to hit. Figure in at least 10 days from once it gets dropped off. It's for that thing to be received in, if not longer. That's really been a struggle. We've finally started getting to the point where, because we're also mindful, we're conditioned, like we're omni-channel, so we're trying to level load all of our inventory. So we're trying to like maximize the just amount of inventory we stock in at Walmart, and then want to fill it in with regular shipments. I would say having too low of inventory, we definitely have seen the impact of sales. Yeah. So I have not broken it down whether it's if they're judging organic ranking. I know there's a big theory on the other marketplace right now. There's some great conversations going on how your FBA inventory it affects your organic ranking. But I haven't seen that, and I don't think Walmart has thought that much through right now, because that's not one of their strategic goals. But I will tell you, definitely fill it in. I think it does impact. Definitely impacts sales. Even being low on inventory is impacting sales. I don't know if there's like some hardcore science behind on the back end, but yeah.
Interesting. Someone made a comment, said Walmart Advertising Pro is device platform targeting as well as placement targeting. Big miss is inability for negative targeting. I agree.
Yes, 100%. Once again, it's one of those mental shifts that, Jamie.
It's on the way, I think. I think negative targeting is coming.
I think it is. They just keep telling me be patient. They're building everything out, and once again, I truly feel like it's almost like the early days of Amazon, where Amazon used to listen to sellers, and it's great. It feels like they're listening, and they're ingesting it, and just give them time. Can't build Rome in a night.
They asked, hello, is it true that we have to lower our product pricing when selling on Walmart compared to selling on Amazon?
Pricing parity. Nope. Pricing parity. I will say we have the problem on the opposite end. And it's hopefully but pricing, they just want pricing parity. And that is something that we try, even omni-channel, is pricing parity as much as possible on the online marketplaces, to give the customer a shared experience.
Here's a good one for you. Does Walmart have sellers filing infringement claims as frequently as Amazon? You have some experience with this, so maybe you can talk about all of that.
So, yes. So there's this brand portal. I like brand portal half the time, and it's getting better. So when we set out to fully embrace being on Walmart.com, our catalog was a mess on there. Our products were already existed. There was multiple listings for our products. People were setting up listings to either drop ship off Amazon or drop ship off our website. So I can't take credit for this. Elsie on my team, God bless her, spent months and months getting all those listings cleaned up.
Wow, that's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work because they had to be combined, and you had to file cases to combine them, and it still happens. And I I'll go off on I'll be honest, I go off on little tirades with Walmart about like, I'm like, it's the same repeat offenders. They're
Yep.
adding no value. Can we not just ban them? They're causing me more work. Like, you know, if they wanted to attach to the listing and be at 3 times the price, so be it. But to create a listing, to create confusion for the customer so that they're seeing, they don't know what they're buying or they don't know what's legit. So we do that. And we also have some other coffee brands that like to put VitaCup in their product descriptions so that they can get organic relevancy on ours. So we file with Brand Portal to have that content removed. And once again, it's mainly one brand. They're not a major player in the marketplace, but I have repeatedly gone on my little tirades and told Walmart, why do you even allow them to sell? It's like they're thumbing their noses at you. You remove it, and then a couple of months later, they just add it back in.
Yeah.
So yes.
I remember when Amazon implemented because we used to put the brand names in the back end so we could target them. It was like years ago, and then they started suppressing your listing, and it was like, nope. So
hence my automats is the reason they came out. I keyword stuffed back in 2017, 16, when I was creating those on the other site. I was keyword stuffing. I was creating stuff for WeatherTech, Weather Beater, my duplicate, and I was doing all the competitors, and mine are rising to the top of all searches.
Yep.
But Chris, I'm also thinking, if you're a reseller, are you saying are sellers filing IP infringement cases to get you off? I don't believe so. What I would say is what I am finding in my experience is, Walmart will say it's an open marketplace, and you can go ahead and attach to the existing listings. Where I think it would be, as a brand, I'd be, and I've bought, and it hasn't happened. It's only happened twice, and it was about a year ago. There was a seller selling expired product, and I bought it, and I took that one through account management, actually, because I was like, somehow they bought this through I don't know how they got it, but it's expired. They restickered over, totally deceptive. They restickered over the expiration with their own expiration. I said, so I have as the brand, I have a huge issue with this. Can you please remove them? And Walmart took appropriate action on it.
All right. So as long as they're following the rules, it seems like it's okay. Okay. This next one is, what is the best way to move forward from online to brick and mortar shops? I don't know if you guys have started this process at all or are working on it, but
so we're already brick and mortar. We're brick and mortar. We were brick and mortar with Walmart, and then Walmart made before we were online. Walmart made the strategic decision to remove all functional coffee products. Okay. So us and two to three other bigger brands got removed, but we still have regular talks about them, and but we're also in brick and mortar in a couple other places. What I'd say is, if you can product differentiate from what you're doing in brick and mortar versus online, it's good, just because your cost structure tends to be a little bit different on the brick and mortar, and you can potentially offer a little lower of a price. And then those brick and mortar shops do advertise online or feed into Google, and some marketplaces do pick that up and do want you to drop your price, and will negatively impact you on getting a featured buy box listing. So, my strategy is, where as much as possible you can product differentiate between the two, you should, and that needs to be something different other than if you're doing count size or something. It's because that can be all done by simple math now and AI, in comparing it. So I would say product differentiation.
Yeah. And I think, mostly too, you've got to make sure that you're successful in the marketplace, because that's really the key to get into open call and all those things, is they want you to show success on the marketplace, and then they'll have a conversation with you.
Yeah. And I've heard great stories about that. So it's.
All right. I'm going to see this one. This one I haven't tested. Tanya asked, does the search ranking depend on geographical availability when it comes to inventory levels?
Not that I have heard of. I think it mainly comes if WFS has received it in. More importantly, that's been the biggest.
I haven't seen it yet. I haven't tested it though, so I wouldn't be able to say for sure. It looks like somebody else has some issues. some other people have maybe had some issues with Walmart stuff. So if you want to join our Helium 10 Winning with Walmart group, and then we can maybe discuss in there, we can try to help you to get those things solved, and definitely want to make sure everyone gets their issues solved so they can sell on Walmart. But thanks again for coming. I appreciate that you came on. So thank you so much for coming on and answering all these questions and giving us advice based on your experience with Walmart. I'm so excited that you were on here today because I've been wanting this for a while. So I'm glad you came. And thanks again. And thanks to everyone who joined live. Go ahead and give us a thumbs up if you liked this. And we'll see you all next time on Walmart Wednesday.